Okay, so get this. Someone sent us like a whole plan for a podcast all about relationships.
Really?
Yeah, it's kind of amazing.
Wow.
I mean, it's like they handed us a treasure map.
Hmm.
Instead of X marking the spot, it's got like relationship gold signs all over it.
And we live for a good treasure hunt.
Right.
It's
Yeah.
laid out like a classic self-help podcast, though. Hits all those essential relationship skills.
Yeah, it's so good. I felt like I was getting a sneak peek behind the scenes of a hit podcast or something.
Right.
But okay, before we get too ahead of ourselves,
Right.
let's jump into the good stuff.
Yeah.
So the thing that really struck me was how much they emphasize these core elements, communication, trust, respect, support.
Yeah.
It's like they're the foundation of everything.
100%. And they're not just buzzwords. They're the bedrock of any strong relationship, romantic or otherwise.
Yeah.
Like, take communication, for example.
Okay.
Without open and honest communication,
Yeah.
you're practically flying blind. How can you possibly build something meaningful if you're not even speaking the same language?
It's like trying to build a house on sand, shaky foundations, shaky relationship, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
And speaking of foundations, that's where trust comes in.
Yeah. Trust, it's funny because everyone says it's important, but what does it actually look like day to day,
Right.
This outline seems to get that.
It does. It highlights how trust isn't built overnight.
Yeah.
It's built through consistent actions over time.
Right.
Like, think about lending a friend money. You'd only do it if you trusted them to pay you back right.
All right.
Trust in relationships works the same way.
Mm.
You're investing your heart and relying on the other person to be responsible with it.
It's that feeling of safety you build with someone, knowing you can count on them to be there for you.
Yeah.
To be honest with you, even when it's hard.
Exactly. And it's a two-way street.
Yeah.
Just like you need to trust your partner, they need to be able to trust you too.
Of course.
Which brings us to respect.
Ugh. Respect. Another one of those words everyone throws around.
Right.
This source emphasizes it a lot.
And for good reason.
Yeah.
Respect is about valuing your partner for who they are, not who you want them to be.
Yeah.
It's about listening with the intent to understand, not just waiting for your turn to speak.
It's so easy to slip into that track, though, right? Like trying to fix your partner or mold them into some idealized version you have in your head.
It happens all the time.
Yeah.
But remember, your partner's thoughts, feelings, and experiences are just as valid as yours. Respecting those differences is key.
It's like appreciating the different colors in a painting.
Ooh, I like that.
They all contribute to the overall masterpiece, even if you wouldn't necessarily hang each one on its own.
No, love that analogy.
Okay, so we've got communication, trust, respect. Let's round out these core elements with support.
Okay.
So what does it mean to truly support your partner? This outline really dives into that. It feels like being each other's cheerleaders, right? Celebrating the wins, big or small, and offering a shoulder to cry on during the tough times.
Yeah.
It's about showing up consistently no matter what life throws your way.
I think that's a great way to put it.
Do you think this source captures that?
Absolutely. It highlights how feeling supported by your partner, knowing they have your back,
Yeah.
is essential for navigating life's ups and downs. Because let's face it, relationships are amazing, but they're not always sunshine and roses.
Okay, so we've got our foundation, communication, trust, respect, support.
Solid stuff.
But then things get really interesting because they dive into boundaries and conflict resolution.
Okay.
Wait, are we about to talk about fighting fair?
Well, you can't have a deep dive into relationships without acknowledging that disagreements happen.
True.
It's not about avoiding conflict altogether. It's about how you handle it.
All right, I'm intrigued. Break it down for us. How does this outline suggest we navigate those choppy waters?
It frames it beautifully, kind of like instead of viewing conflict as this big, scary monster,
Yeah.
you learn to see it as a wave.
Okay.
Like you can't stop waves from coming,
Right.
but you can learn to surf.
Okay. I'm liking this wave analogy. So how do we become like expert relationship surfers?
That's where boundaries come in.
Okay.
And what I think is so insightful here
Yeah.
is this emphasis on setting boundaries together.
Okay.
It's not about control. It's about collaboration.
So it's less drawing a line in the sand and more like, hey, let's build a bridge together kind of vibe.
Yes, exactly.
Okay.
You're figuring out what works for both people.
Yeah.
What are your individual needs and limits?
Mm-hmm.
How could you communicate those clearly and respectfully? Those are some essential conversations to have.
Yeah, it makes me think about how, like, in any good team, everyone knows their role and what's expected of them, right? It's like
Yeah.
boundaries are about creating that same shared understanding, but in a relationship.
It's funny you say that because this outline actually draws a parallel to how these same principles underpin strong teams,
Really?
families, even successful businesses.
Wow.
Yeah. But okay, back to navigating those choppy waters.
Okay.
We've got communication, trust, respect, support, boundaries.
Check, check, check.
But then they throw in this other curveball,
Yeah.
individual growth.
Right. It feels almost counterintuitive. Like if you're focusing on yourself, are you kind of neglecting the relationship in a way?
It's a dance, not a
Yeah.
tug of war.
Okay.
This outline really emphasizes finding that balance
Mm-hmm.
between we and me.
Yeah.
Like, imagine a garden. You can't expect a plant to thrive if you only focus on the leaves and neglect the roots, right?
Right.
Individual growth is like tending to those roots.
I love that. So you're nurturing your own growth so you can like show up as the best version of yourself in the relationship.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And when both partners are committed to their own growth,
Yeah.
it brings such a vibrancy to the relationship. Think about it. Wouldn't you rather be with someone who's excited about life, pursuing their passions, constantly evolving?
100%. Stagnation in a relationship, that's a recipe for disaster.
Exactly.
Okay, so tending to your own garden so the whole landscape thrives, I love it.
I like that.
Okay, so what else does this relationship roadmap cover?
Well, it dives into some more nuanced topics like intimacy.
Ooh, la la, things are getting juicy.
Right.
I notice it's not just about the romantic candlelit kind of intimacy, though.
Right.
This source seems to get that intimacy goes way beyond that.
It definitely does. This outline talks about the importance of rituals,
Okay.
daily practices,
Uh-huh.
small, consistent acts of love and connection.
Yeah.
Those are the things that kind of weave the fabric of a relationship.
Yeah, it's like anyone can make a grand gesture every now and then,
Right.
but it's the small everyday things that
Thanks,
really
Nat.
say, I see you, I appreciate you, I'm thinking of you.
Exactly.
You know, like those little things that make a difference. 100%. So what I'm hearing is it's about creating a culture of appreciation and connection in your relationship.
Yes.
And like consistently nurturing that connection in big and small ways.
That's a beautiful way to put it.
Oh, thanks.
And speaking of nurturing,
Yeah.
we've talked about all the good stuff, but this outline doesn't shy away from the challenges.
Right.
You know those stormy times that every relationship faces?
Of course. Yeah.
It dedicates a whole section to red flags.
Yes. Which I think is so important
Me too.
because ignoring those red flags is like ignoring that check engine light on your dashboard.
Oh, yeah.
Eventually things are going to break down.
Exactly.
So from your perspective,
Yeah.
what are one or two warning signs that someone might be headed for trouble in their own relationships? Like, what should our listeners be on the lookout for?
That's a great question, and this outline has some solid advice.
Okay, good.
One major red flag is controlling behavior.
Okay.
Things like trying to dictate what your partner wears, who they spend time with, or like constantly checking their phone.
Yeah.
That's a huge EE sign that something's off balance in the power dynamic,
Right.
which goes back to respect, right?
Totally. It's like they've just completely forgotten that their partner is like an independent person.
Yes.
With their own thoughts and feelings and the right to make their own choices.
100%. And on that note, another big one is consistent disrespect.
Okay.
If you're constantly feeling belittled or put down or like your feelings are being dismissed,
Yeah.
that's a major red flag.
It's like that saying, if they'll do it with you, they'll do it to you.
Right.
If someone shows disrespect early on, it's likely to escalate. Right?
Exactly. Recognizing those red flags is crucial, but equally important is knowing when to seek help.
Yes. Don't wait until the ship is sinking to start bailing water.
Couldn't agree more.
Yeah.
Whether it's therapy, counseling, or support from trusted individuals, don't be afraid to reach out.
Right.
Sometimes an outside perspective can provide clarity and guidance that you might not be able to see on your own.
It's a sign of strength, not weakness, to ask for help when you need it.
Yes.
Especially when it comes to something as important as your relationships. You know, it's kind of crazy to think all these insights
Yeah.
came from what's basically like a plan for another podcast.
Right.
This outline we've been looking at, it's like
Yeah.
a masterclass in relationship building, but disguised as, you know, like a planning doc.
I know. They clearly get it, you know.
They do.
The power of storytelling, how to break down these big topics
Yeah.
into stuff we can actually use.
It's like they handed us this incredible treasure map. And we've spent this whole episode like charting the course for everyone listening.
Yeah.
You know, we marked those landmarks, identified those potential pitfalls.
Exactly.
And now they're equipped to navigate their own relationship adventures.
They are.
So for everyone listening, right? about to head out on those relationship adventures. What's like one pall of wisdom, one key takeaway they should keep in mind?
Remember that relationships, just like anything else worth having in life,
Yeah.
they take effort. They take intentionality.
It's about really showing up every day, being present.
Yes.
Never stop learning, and growing together.
Together, exactly.
And it's not about being perfect all the time. It's about, committing to the journey.
Beautifully said. And, on that note,
Yeah.
as you go about your day today,
Mm-hmm.
think about one small thing, one small action you can take
Yeah.
to strengthen a relationship that matters to you.
I love that.
Maybe it's sending a thoughtful text.
Mm.
Maybe it's just expressing some gratitude.
Right.
Maybe it's just truly listening,
Just being present.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Remember, even small changes, they can make a big difference over time.
absolutely. Well, thank you so much for joining me on this deep dive.
Thanks for having me. This was fun.